Welcome to the Market Frontlines. I'm Lyndsay Malchuk, coming to you right from the energy and mining buzz of PDAC in Toronto. Now today I have the pleasure of sitting down with Jim Atkinson, the visionary CEO of Antimony Resources, a company on the cutting edge of antimony exploration with the Bald Hill project in New Brunswick.
New Brunswick.
There we go. Jim and his team have been turning heads with some very massive stibnite discoveries that are putting North American antimony back on the map. Thank you so much for coming and sitting with us.
Thank you for having us. We love talking about our project.
Absolutely. You can already feel the passion just in that one line alone, Jim. Thank you so much. I want to just start right here because there is a lot of education still needed around antimony. What is antimony? What is it used for? And why is it so critical, especially given where the world is right now?
Well, antimony I call the most important metal nobody knows about.
Okay.
It has a lot of uses. One of the major use for antimony is military uses.
Right.
All munitions have antimony. It's used in high-tech things like night vision goggles. But one of the most important uses of antimony trioxide, which is a compound of antimony, is a flame retardant. And it's used in things like automobile upholstery, children's furniture, children's clothing. But in the military, it's actually sprayed on every tent in the military as a flame retardant. So it's a tremendous use in the military. And we like to say, if you don't have antimony, you don't have a military.
Right.
Because that's how important it is. Think about it this way. It's used in bullets, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
United States sent over 10 million bullets to Ukraine. So the worldwide market for antimony is quite large, about $2.5 billion, and expected to grow over the next 5 years to perhaps twice that.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing about it is that up until 2014, 75% of the antimony in the world was produced in China and Russia and Tajikistan. Of course, in 2024, China cut down all export of antimony. That took away 75% of the world's supply, right? So antimony is that important that the United States government is busy really investing literally billions of dollars into the antimony space. They are trying to develop domestic production in the United States, but they like Canada. We're a friendly neighbor, and so we're pretty. I think we're pretty excited. We're pretty well placed in a metal that's in demand, that has very low worldwide production at this point in time. I'll give you an example. In 2024, the United States imported 140,000 metric tons of antimony trioxide, and they don't produce a single pound. So that's the kind of market that we're looking to get into, right?
You know, you did mention you're a Canadian company. Expand on that for us. Tell us about where you are. And I want to know actually more about your project as well. Like, I know that we can go on the internet, we can read all the facts, we can read all the results, all the things, but let's really pull that curtain back and just give our audience some insights that they can't get on the internet. What is all like over there?
Well, let me just touch on the internet once. So if you put ChatGPT, you put antimony in there, you'll get our project.
There we go. That is a big check right there, right?
Well, let me talk about project. So it's located in southern New Brunswick province in Canada. It's equidistant from three large cities, Fredericton, Sussex, and St. John, as large cities as they have in New Brunswick, which are not very big. But anyway, so it has great infrastructure.
Okay.
We have great power, lots of roads, very good location from the point of view of let's call it stakeholders. We have really no First Nation stakeholders, although we do coordinate with the provincial First Nation group, the Mi'kmaq and the Maliseet and other First. We don't really have a lot of residents around. All of our land is privately held by Irving Woodlands, which is a big timber company.
Right.
We have an agreement with them. We do all of our work on their land. We have great support also from the New Brunswick government. New Brunswick government is very mining friendly, I would say. Their geological survey has covered the whole province in mapping, geophysics, everything. So we have a really good regional database already before we started. When we acquired the project in January of last year, we had about 5,000 meters of drilling from past work. And so since then, we've added another about 8,000 meters, and we will be adding another 10,000 meters in the program that's ongoing right now, which will be finished in April. So we're getting a very good idea of what's there. We're hitting lots of high-grade antimony. We, look up some of our press releases, you'll see very high-grade intersection. And, we think we are the highest grade antimony project. We're definitely the highest grade in North America, and we're probably one of the highest grade in the world. We're also the only antimony project, basically the only one in the whole world that's not a former gold mine that has antimony sort of as a byproduct.
Yeah.
We are a pure antimony play. That's our whole thing.
Jim, I want to ask here, how is mining antimony? Is it very different from, say, gold or silver or copper? Is it a very complex thing to mine?
No, actually, it's fairly simple. Think of it as a vein. It would be like a vein copper deposit, a vein silver deposit. We like it better than gold because when we drill it, we can see it. So when we drill massive antimony, we know we're going to get high-grade numbers. But as far as mining, we anticipate it would be a small underground mine, maybe 500 tons a day. That would produce probably in the order of, let's say, 5,000 metric tons of antimony concentrate a year. The metallurgy of antimony is very simple. A standard flotation type circuit will concentrate it very well. We have some preliminary metallurgy, which says we would get 96, 97% recovery, turning out a 65% antimony concentrate. So very easy to mine, actually. And like I said, a small underground operation, so very small Capex. We reckon that the Capex will be maybe 200 million, 200 million, as opposed to some of the bigger ones, which are in the billions. So very, very small, very tight operation. Also, that's very, let's say that's very positive for permitting because it'll be a small operation, a small footprint, and, and that'll help us on the permitting side.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What is it that you need to do right now to hit those milestones to bring that into production then?
So right now we have work going on our permit application. So we have background environmental work, we have background technical engineering work going on.
Yeah.
So all of that will be in such a state that we're pretty sure we will be able to put a permit application to the New Brunswick government by the end of 2026, maybe 2027. The New Brunswick government has been stating all along that they want to have a very short process of review. And so in the end of that, we've also been having negotiations and discussions with the Department of Indian Affairs, the Department of Municipal Affairs, Natural Resources, all of the potential stakeholders that would be involved in this. So we have a local New Brunswick consulting company working with us on that. And on the technical side, we have another consulting company, a technical company, who's doing something for us, which we call a technical gap analysis. And what that means is they will identify, for instance, probably eventually the right mining methodologies, but also things like what we have to do for, say, hydrogeological studies, for geotechnical studies, all of that. And my goal is to run all of that at the same time so that we can shorten up the time until we can make a production decision.
It's really
At the end of our drilling program, which is undergoing right now, and probably sometime in the end of April, early May, we may have enough information that we can put out our first resource. What I had a challenge with when I first started this was finding someone in Canada who could be a QP for antimony. And at that time, I only knew of one person that had expertise in antimony, and that was me.
And that was you. And here you are.
No, but since then, I've actually tracked down some other people. The geologist that we're using at the consulting firm SRK, she actually did the last resource update for the Beaverbrook mine, which is another antimony mine in Newfoundland that operated back in the day. So she has the expertise. And I've since hired 2 other people who did the last resource at Lake George Antimony, which was the other antimony project. I brought them on our team. So we now have, 3 or 4 people that can work together to try to come up with the right ideas for this.
Well, let's talk about your leadership team right there, because that's where everything really actually starts. What does your management team put on the line of their own to make sure that they're they're loyal and they're aligned with what shareholders want to see.
Well, our management team is pretty slim. Basically, it's me, and we have one director and a CFO. That's it. We're pretty slim, but we are all invested in the company. Our sort of people that are raising our money, let's call them our IR people or whatever you want to call them, they also have put a lot of money in. So I would say we have about 30% insider and insider and friends type investment. Our other big investments come from large funds. So our last financing, we did $10 million, basically with 2 funds in the United States.
Okay.
So we really have we do have a very broad retail. We trade, on the average about 1 million shares a day.
Okay.
So we have a very broad retail, but we also have very strong backing by big funds in Canada, Delbrook and Paramount and those kind of people in the United States, Revere and those kind of funds. So we do have strong sort of support on the investing side from both retail and from funds as well. And we're now getting to the point where we're getting close to 100 million market cap. So that also means different people can start to take a look at it as far as different funds and whatever.
That's great. Perfect. Well, Jim, it's been so great having you here with us. Thank you so much for all of this information. I can't wait to actually hear more about it.
Well, no problem. And like I said, if you want to find out about us, just put antimony in ChatGPT and you'll get it.
There it is. Perfect. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
Again, that was Jim Atkinson, CEO of Antimony Resources. Go check them out and learn more now. Their website is antimonyresources.ca. Antimony Resources trades on the CSE under ATMY and on the Frankfurt under K8JO. Keep an eye on this one. It's not just about what's in the ground. It's about how they're bringing it to the market in a way that could change the antimony story globally. I'm Lyndsay Malchuk right here at PDAC Toronto 2026. Stay tuned. There's way more coming.